I ain't scared of you motherfuckers. I'm on it.
Hey, Freak Show! You're going nowhere!
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Welcome back, kids and coaches, to another episode of West of Nowhere. I am Levi.
And I'm Shane.
Yeah, we're back at it. Live action. I'm just gonna get the YouTube comments out of the way because there's only one. Kylie, where you at, dude? What's your deal?
Ooh, Kylie didn't win top commenter?
No.
Ooh.
There's only one, just our whales, and it says hashtag clickbait for the win, which I don't even know.
We were... So I went back and watched, and
Yeah.
I was super surprised you didn't use the faces. So last episode we were talking about being clickbaity, and we both made faces.
Oh,
going,
yeah, that's right.
And you didn't use
Yeah, I
the
forgot
faces.
about that.
And I was like, damn, dude,
Yeah.
you missed a solid opportunity.
Yeah, I should have. Nah, maybe next time.
I'm telling you, I'm like this close to selling out, dude. Okay, look, a bunch of the podcasts that I like watch on YouTube, a bunch of them have like faces making crazy for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed that like YMH does that now. Like it'll be like them in mid conversation, which I mean it's the same thing that we do, but like I don't know. I feel like if you're an established brand, why are you doing that? You know what I mean? Like I do it because I have to make it interesting so randos will click on it. Like
Yeah.
you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. How about you take a walk? Let us don't saturate the market, man. Or like
There's this.
TimeSuck.
Go
I
ahead.
noticed the YouTube on TimeSuck is now using clips of Dan talking and like cut out with like a superimposed image of whatever he's talking about too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, because I'm friends with the dude who does those on Facebook, Logan. He does all like the merch and stuff for him too.
Yeah.
And like before, he was doing like really cool thumbnails where it was like it would look like a tattered image of like whatever they're talking about with the logo in like the corner or something, but it looked like, you know, like a folded up piece of paper like printed out or something like that. And I was like, that's pretty
Yeah,
sweet. And then now it looks like all the other ones kind of. I'm like, oh well, that's sad.
Yeah. There's a podcast I listen to called the Dropouts Podcast.
Oh yeah.
And they do it all the time, and I'll be like, oh cool, this episode's gonna be, it gets me every single time.
Oh yeah.
Every time I'm like, oh dude, this episode's gonna be crazy, and then you
Yeah.
watch it and like, this is normal
I will say
stuff
like
you guys talk about.
Andrew Santino's podcast, Whiskey Ginger, like
Yeah.
he's done that for a while where it's usually him and his guest, like, but they're like gigantic, and that's the whole thing. It's just the two faces.
Yeah.
But then that's also kind of his deal, you know. I don't know. If you want to see just our faces, leave us a comment in the Oh man. What else can they do if they want to support us?
Oh man, you can always tell your friends about us. Honestly, everyone who's been listening lately, the I don't know where you came from, the 40 or 50 of you that have
Yeah.
been suddenly listening, super dope.
Yeah.
Keep that up, and I appreciate you listening. But if you just want to share us with your friends, super basic. You don't have to give us any money. You already give us an hour of your time.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Share us with your friends, and if you're feeling real spicy about it, you can head on over to the Linktree and go to Patreon, and you can become a subscriber. We have 3 different tiers, 1, 5, and 10. I'm kicking around an idea about adding a video for the 5 and up tiers, just an
Yeah.
extra 25-minute video. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to do to make it relevant so you guys will listen to it.
Yeah.
So, let us know. Email us. Leave it in the comments.
Yeah.
You know.
If you got some suggestions, we're all ears. We're not, we don't just like, this is a little bit of self-service because it's, kind of an excuse for me and you just to talk to each other once a week at least. But also, it is like kind of a way for a lot of our friends to just kind of listen to how we feel about random stuff, or, and so it is nice to have when people are like, hey, have you guys or like that people want to come on, like when Mark and Chantel or, the dudes from Lucid Wasteland ever come up, like that stuff is fun. Like having people involved that listen to the show and like appreciate it, come on, It's awesome. And if you want to do that, you can go to the link tree and might be able to make some things happen. Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's
That's
all
not
I-
everything.
What? No. What do you got? Oh yeah. Oh.
Speaking of the people who are, still loyal to us, we want to thank Adam Pacino, Mark Stadler, Kylie Gangwish, Colby Jordan, Colton Zamerzla, and Chantel.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are the Patreon people. Almost forgot about them. That was really funny. We were like leading into it, and I was like, yeah, actually, so we're done now. Brain shut off halfway through that. That's all right. There's too many things going on. There's a lot of exciting stuff. A lot of sad stuff going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you watched anything good lately, though? Like any movies or stand-up or anything?
Not stand-up or movies necessarily, but if you've not watched season 2 of Loki, you're missing out.
Shit. Yeah.
Though, I hope the show ends at the end of this season. Like, I hope they don't do it, because it ends so perfectly. Like, I would say hands down one of the best. It's got to be top 5 finishes in the last 10, 15 years of shows. Like, it's amazing. They do such a good job, like, bringing it to a close. But knowing Disney, they love money, and they'll ruin it by the 3rd season.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. I don't, like, you had kind of made a comment about that the other day when we were just talking. And I, like, after you said that, I was trying to think of some, like, the really good show endings. Because it's kind of a mixed bag. You either have the ones that go for too long, and then it's like, well, how do we tie this up? Or they get canceled, and there is no ending.
Yeah.
And like, so very seldomly do you get like a satisfying like conclusion. And I was struggling to find some. I think the way Californication ended, I think is a really good example where like that, like obviously that Hank had a lot of ups and downs throughout that whole show, so like just giving that a satisfying conclusion I think was good. But like, Game of Thrones obviously was met with
it was rough.
A lot of mixed reviews in the last season.
Unpopular opinion, I thought Dexter ended the first time it ended.
Yeah.
Ended fine.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah. I don't understand why people are like, oh really? Okay, so what was the whole point? Like, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it, even though it's been off air for how many years?
Yeah, oh yeah, I know. Well, then they did that. Well, they did that reboot season just for one season.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this adds nothing.
Yeah. It was very confusing. Yeah, I never had a problem with it either. I think maybe it's just because I liked Dexter so much, where it was like, just okay with whatever, Like, obviously I was bummed to see it end, but I wasn't, gonna be angry and be like, how dare you have given so much entertainment this, for however many hours I've watched this, and then now you take it away from me, but you make him a lumberjack. Okay.
And then I don't know how popular this show is, but I watched it a lot, and this is old, but Angel, the spinoff from Buffy.
Oh yeah, I never watched either of them actually. So
I didn't really watch Buffy, but I don't know why I just started watching that show, and it ends pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of shows in the early '90s ended a lot better.
Yeah, I think it's because there was always like this is the story we're trying to tell, and they'd make it clear that that's what they're trying to do, and then like for the most part, as long as it's performing well, the network's like, well, we're not gonna and you have to think, especially at the time, like 90s. Like TV, that was like where it was at, was like those long running drama shows, because it gave way to like Lost in the early 2000s, and I don't know, which I've never watched that also. But
did you ever see Sliders?
No.
So it's a sci-fi show about these people who figure out how to jump to parallel universes.
Ooh.
But they can't control where they jump to.
Oh, so they just end up random.
They just every episode is them jumping to a new parallel Earth with crazy shit going on. And the whole premise of the show is them just trying to get back home.
Oh, okay.
And that show ends perfectly because spoiler. It's if you haven't watched it now, you're probably never gonna watch it. But it ends with them getting back home. But the whole journey is them just jumping. Every
Yeah.
episode is like this crazy, like what the fuck is going on here, on Earth? Like it's super good. But
Yeah.
another show that ends well, like you said, they had a story, they told it, and that was the end of it.
Yeah. I just watched the Weird Al movie
Oh.
a couple weeks ago. Yeah, this is hilarious. I don't know if you've watched it or not, but
I have not.
I mean, so I think when I was watching it with Tom, my older brother, and he's like, I'm not exactly sure what this movie's supposed to be, and I was like, well, it kind of feels like all of Weird Al's music and attitude turned into what his version of a biopic, if you will,
Okay.
music.
Because doesn't Daniel Radcliffe play him?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. Like they just like are lampooning so many different music movies, like The Dirt and the Elvis movie, like pretty much anything. Like it's like a almost sequel to Walk Hard, essentially, like like a spiritual sequel. So
I love that.
Yeah, it was great. There's just so many ridiculous things, and it's like, okay, like I know enough about Weird Al to know that 90% of this is not true. Like, but it's fun.
Dude, I miss those movies. I mean, obviously they got out of hand and they stopped, but like Scary Movie.
Oh yeah.
Or like what was the? There was like another one that was really good. But I know Scary Movie pretty much like pioneered that like weird spot that was perfect for a little while, and then we just
Yeah.
went fucking overboard.
Yeah,
but I
with,
kind of
like,
miss
the
that style of
Epic
movie.
movie and like all those ones, like superhero
The Starving
movie.
Games.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
start. Yeah.
Just-
Yeah. I don't know. It's been a couple months now, but I've recently was watching through a couple of the Scary Movies, and I was like, I think Scary Movie 3 has always been my favorite, just because like it made fun of signs, and that movie scared the shit out of me when I was little. So I was just like, yeah, get him. Like I was okay with it.
Yeah.
And God, like it's just every little thing. Like there's like so many jokes per minute. I feel like it was not a lot of like wasted space in
Yeah.
movies. Like they're just like, we're just gonna make a joke about everything and we don't care. And yeah, like it did get run into the ground eventually, but I think the first three for sure are great.
Oh yeah, they're
Two is
comedic gold.
amazing where they're in the haunted house, but yeah.
Do you think a Mel Brooks style movie could exist today and have as much success as they did back in, when they were Blazing Saddles and all those movies came out?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the way people, like the kind of movies people enjoy are not even remotely the same as like, because that was always like very in your face, like a very, I don't know, caricature version of like these stereotypes that they were playing into, and we don't really have those anymore. Like everything's not like this is this kind of movie. Like, and the only exception I guess would be like Marvel movies or like comic movies are the only movies where it's like, okay, we know what that is, and yeah, we can like make fun of it, I guess. But I don't know, I don't like when people are like, yeah, they couldn't make Mel Brooks movies today because it's too offensive, because that's dumb, because he was always making fun of the people who are, the people who think that the other team is getting offended a lot of the times. Like, he is very tongue-in-cheek, making fun of, a lot of the uber religious people who were getting fervently angry about things, and
Yeah.
I don't know, but like, I know Willy Wonka wasn't his movie, but like that has the same kind of energy, just because that's how they were back then with comedies.
Yeah.
They were a little more farcical. Like even Airplane, same kind of
Dude,
vibe.
I kind of love that. I miss that sometimes. I miss the like just this. You're like, oh, this scene should have stopped already. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, on Airplane, when that
Yeah.
lady's freaking out, and then they just all start smacking her, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
2 people. Oh wait, 7. What is
Yeah.
going on?
My favorite like running joke through Airplane is the the kids that are acting like adults. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah,
So, like an old married couple, but they're like 8. Like similarly, it reminds me of the Little Rascals, the the '90s version.
yeah.
I don't know when the last time you watched that movie was, but I watched it. I don't know. It's been a few months now, but I watched it with my niece one day, and I was like, God, this movie was hilarious because it was like, if you gave the same lines to adults, it would still be like like it would work. Like the lines are so, I don't know, they're so specific to like an adult life. like it's
Yeah.
just kids acting as adults in like the most ridiculous way. Like they are saying kid stuff, but like I don't know, a lot of the verbiage that they were using and different things. I was like, these are little tiny adults right now. Like this is an adult conversation. I don't know. It's just very confusing. So
That makes me, the way you described Little Rascals right there makes me think of that movie that came out a couple years ago now. Me and you talked about it a bunch.
oh, Good
Maybe
Boys.
not on the show. Good Boys, dude.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah.
Like if you're thinking about that movie and you're like, oh, do you remember how like you just used to say stuff for no reason? Boom.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
100%, dude.
Yeah, and I think that another part of it is that like comedies in general have been kind of let go of in terms of being adult driven, and now they have to kind of be something that everybody can kind of cater to because of studio interference and like how we want to make the most money, so to make the most money it's got to be appealing to the widest range of audiences, and you can't have like super specific comedies like for adults anymore because then they're just not going to spend the money, so it's got to be like an indie kind of thing.
Yeah. See, I think the writing that used to happen as far as like shows that were okay for kids to watch, but also they were geared towards adults because they would have those jokes that were just barely out of your range of understanding. And then you go back and watch stuff
As an adult, and you're like, whoa.
and you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
Yeah.
Like, weird reference, but I watched Dragon Ball growing up, right?
Right.
And then I went back and watched it as an adult, and I was like, yo, Goku is a fucking pervert.
Yeah.
Like, he spent all of his time just like up her fucking skirt. And I was like, dude, oh my God.
Yeah. I remember that, like I've seen a lot of like memes and stuff about that, but I haven't watched Dragon Ball in such a long time because I think I'd try to rewatch it at one point. I was like, I don't know, man, this is just so different than how I remember it, and I didn't want to taint my memory anymore. And I was like, okay, man, I need to go through and watch this because like Dragon Ball Z was such a big part of my childhood, and like there's some anime purists that out there that are like, fucking Dragon Ball sucks, dude. And like, that's fine, you have your own opinion, but like that doesn't change how I felt as a kid growing up watching it. Like that, every day I would get home from school, I would walk home and I would turn on Toonami and I would watch Dragon Ball Z, and if I didn't know, and I did not know that it was like not new, like I thought it was coming out like it was brand new.
Yeah, I remember.
So I was like, oh shit. And it's crazy because I remember it looking so good, like like clean, and like all the lines like look real sharp, and then now I watch it, I'm like, what was I watching? This doesn't look like anything like I remember.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Yeah.
And I mean, but you can do that with almost anything nowadays because the way we jump so far in how we do animation in general, like,
oh yeah,
take a favorite video game that you haven't played in a long time. Like, I remember, for instance, 007 being just the crispiest fucking game. And then I played it, like, I think I played it, it's been about 5 years now, but I went back to play it, and I was like, dude, was I blind?
Yeah. I play, well, I haven't in a long time, but I have, like, a PlayStation 2 emulator on my computer, and then I also have, like, a Game Boy emulator, and that, like, I had a Game Boy Advance, and like that was my shit. Play Pokemon all the time, whatever. I was like, man, like, and obviously it's very, very stylized. Like, you know exactly that it's not realistic.
Yeah.
But then I look at it on the computer, I'm like, what the fuck? And I remember watching a video, I think it is either on Facebook or TikTok, but this guy was explaining how pixel art is actually, like inappropriate to how it actually would have been presented. Like pixel art looks pixelated because you're taking something that was rendered for a screen that had like all those little dots all over the place, like that stuff. Like those TVs don't exist in any way, shape, or form that we use them anymore. So like the pixel art translates to the screens we have now that way because they don't rely on some of the fuzziness that those TVs offered.
Oh, okay.
So, if you want to take what an actual like pixel art picture looks like, you need to, kind of imagine what that TV would have done to it, where it would have fuzzed out some of the edges and made it a little more rounded instead of looking so,
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's super interesting. I never really even considered that because you don't think about how a TV looks until you go from like one old one to a brand new one back to back, which you don't do. Like nobody does that because I don't even have a box TV in my possession at all. I don't know anybody that has one. So
yeah, I don't think
like
anyone does.
I can't like compare and contrast against anything, but yeah, I was like, well, okay. There's also a website. Oh man, I think I have a bookmark of it that I found. It's My 90s TV. So if you have some like nostalgia for old school programming and things like that,
Yeah.
recommend going and checking that out because it has program channels that you can just surf through, and it's like old shows, old broadcasts, whatever, and it's like from the period, and they have I think it goes back to the 70s, so there's each decade has its own.
Yeah.
And I was flipping through 90s the other day, and I was like, holy shit, like Roly Poly, the Disney show was on. I was like, whoa, I forgot
Oh,
wow,
wow,
that
dude.
show.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
and it like the thing is like it's emulated to look like an old TV.
So it's
too.
fuzzy and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting, but
Dude. On the same vein of watching stuff recently, I just started watching I know it's not new, but I started watching the Gen X documentary.
oh yeah,
And in the first episode, it's an hour long, they heavily reference this show that I'd never heard of called Reality Bites or Reality Sucks.
Reality Bites.
And it's and it looks like I'm probably gonna start watching this show. I'm gonna go find it and try to watch it because it's got Ethan Hawke in it, and that dude is a national treasure. Even though I'm pretty sure he's not from America.
Is he not?
I don't know. Maybe not.
Well,
I feel like I want to say, I don't know. Every time I say that, I'm wrong, and it's somebody from Canada, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, fuck.
that is fair. Let's see. Ethan Hawke, American actor and writer.
Yes. All right.
We got him. He's from Austin, Texas. He's about as American as sliced
As it
bread.
gets.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wait.
if that
Is sliced bread American?
I don't think so, but it is now.
I really wanted you to Google sliced bread American.
I don't know. Probably because, well, no, fuck. We're not the only people that ever slice bread, I guess. But I was thinking of, like, you know how a lot of countries, like, specifically, mostly France and Italy come to mind, but they, like, these cultures that like to tear the bread up and, like, dip it in stuff instead of, like, smearing it. Have you ever had this experience?
No. Oh, you're talking about when you go to, like, rub across the bread and the bread just, like, it's too soft?
Yeah, so like in a lot of the fancier parts of the world, they're instead of just like smearing the shit all over the bread, you tear fresh bread that they just cooked for you off, and then you kind of like just dip it in whatever you're using, and like per bite, so you get, and so they do it a little fancier, and I don't know, and so then in my head I'm like, yeah, but America's kind of dumb, so we just have to have like pre-sliced bread.
So I think we're 2 for 2 at this point, dude. It says here that Otto Frederick Rohritter of Davenport, Iowa,
Whoa.
invented the first single loaf bread slicing machine.
That's hilarious. I mean, his name is not American, but Davenport, Iowa is, so...
Sounds like a win to me.
Yep, I'll take it. Jesus.
On this week's episode of Useless Information.
Yeah. Bet you didn't know you're gonna know stuff like that.
Oh, dude.
Oh, go ahead.
I also recently learned that, you know, the chef's hats?
Which ones?
The tall white ones, the ones that are like tall and white. You know how they have the little slits in them?
Yeah, are they for
That's
rats?
supposed to be...
Oh.
Yeah, for rats, yeah. No, those slits are supposed to be symbolic of how many ways you can cook an egg.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's weird. I didn't know that.
It's so useless.
Yeah. Also, like, does it change? Like, do you find one chef that's like his hat's all slits? I found every way to cook an egg. Don't ask
Almost
me
like
questions.
almost like a karate thing where like,
Yeah,
all right,
you get like an extra stripe.
Yeah, the first hat you get just has one, and then every time you learn to make a new egg, you have to show a group of like black belt chefs.
Their hat is actually just the floating poofy part because the slots don't exist anymore. Yeah, I guess that's good to know. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to think of like contextually. I don't know. How old's the chef hat? That's probably French, I'm assuming, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's so weird how like so many weird what's the tradition, that's the word I was looking for. How many weird traditions just carry through for no reason in a lot of ways. Like in the military, obviously there's a lot of traditions, but those kind of make sense because you're part of something that's a little more needs to be a little more orderly, and you have to have those to kind of anchor people to, but I don't know.
The chef's hat dates back to the 16th century and is known as the toque, Toque.
Oh, French. For sure, French. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we were 100% right. Each pleat in their hat represents a different technique they have mastered. So it's 100% like fucking
skill
karate
cap,
belts.
dude. Yeah. It's like the skill capes on RuneScape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's insane.
That is wild.
Oh, and then the taller it is, the more they know.
Whoa. So that's just like if you go to a random place and I'm trying to think of like 16th century, if you just show up to a castle and you're like, hey man, I want to cook for you, and they're like, let me see your hat, bro.
Yeah, how tall
like
is your
you
hat?
couldn't have forged this hat. I guess they'll find out if you suck at cooking, but you know what I mean? Like back then, nobody's like, we got not Craigslist, was it Angie's List that's always on the TV. Like, hey, do you want a contractor? Ask Angie.
So if you have 100 folds in your hat and it's super tall, you're the
final boss, dude.
Essentially.
Wow. The more you know.
I'm gonna be real honest, dude. When we hit record today, I did not think that this is where this conversation was gonna go.
Me neither. But I like it.
Oh no.
These are like my favorite ones where it's just like, what are we even doing? I don't know. We're just kind of talking. It's fun. Entertaining.
These are the episodes where they're hanging out where the audience is hanging out with us.
Yeah, literally just bullshitting. Like, this is the most smoke pit conversation I've ever had, you know?
Yeah, dude. We totally messed up by not naming our show that.
The smoke pit?
The smoke pit.
Oh, man.
Like,
rebranding.
Dude, it's just a butt can with wings coming off of it and like two cross cigarettes. Like,
dude. God, we fucked up. Nobody take that idea. We are rebranding right now.
I'm pretty sure somebody else from the military has started that. There's no way there. There's no way. I'm gonna Google it right now.
Yeah, that because it's such a very universal experience where
the Smoke Pit Podcast
where
comes up immediately.
Yeah, damn it.
Smoke Pit Podcast.
Fuck, we're gonna hostile takeover.
Yeah, but it's just says crazy stories, roasting, and witty banter.
Well, I mean, that's...
are the hallmarks that defines the military. Yeah, these motherfuckers, they got it.
Damn it. We were so close.
You almost witnessed greatness.
You guys got so was fucking that close, man. Holy shit.
You could have been there at ground zero when we changed our name for the 3rd time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, man, I think, are we more episodes in on this now than we were
Than
on the other
anything.
one?
Yeah.
Nice. That's what I'm talking about.
We're kind of committed.
Yeah, at this point, until we change the name a 3rd time.
I'm
It's got to
this
be
close.
something really good, like, well, because the only reason we changed it the 2nd time because we merged them. Like, we could have come
Yeah.
up with something new and unique, but
I mean, to be fair, our name is new and unique. No one ever knows what the fuck I'm saying when they're like, "What do you do? What's your podcast called?" West of Nowhere, and they're like, "How?" With it's, and I always say West of Nowhere, and it's spelled with a K, and they're like, "Excuse me?"
I talked to there's this dude at work who asked me the other day. He's like, "I heard you got a podcast." I was like, "I got a couple of them," and he's like, "Oh, what are they?" And I told him, I was like, "Yeah, the Remedial Scholars, the history one that I do. It's weekly, topics that are history related, and then the other one is West of Nowhere, it's spelled." And then he like finished it. He's like, "Is it like?" Because I was saying like it's spelled funky. He's like, "Is it with a K?" I was like, "Yeah, you get it." And he said he listened to it, left us a review, but it hasn't posted. But that was yesterday, so we'll find out.
Oh yeah. Look at that shameless self plug you did there.
Yeah.
Oh, just my other podcast. The Remedial Scholar. Fucker.
Good thing I didn't do a shameless plug on this show, on the Remedial Scholar this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maybe
Were
you
you
should
like
stop sassing me. No, I don't remember the specifics of what I said, but essentially it was like, and also like, because I put in the description of the other show, the show's link, and then the Macabre Emporium, which is my friend David's podcast, and then Real Creature Feature, which is Mac's podcast, this dude that I know. So
Okay, nice.
yeah, but
Dude, at this point, we should just come together with all these podcasts that we're friends with and just make like a
Battle
media
Royale,
group, Oh. Just podcast deathmatch, which is like what, every week one of us in claymation fights the other one in claymation.
Oh my god, I miss Celebrity Deathmatch. That's a 90s pinnacle 90s right there.
The video game was so much fun too.
Oh, I didn't know there was a video game. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it came out on the original Xbox.
Oh man, I bet that was awesome.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was thinking about the other day was Deadliest Warrior. You remember that show? Did you
Yeah.
ever watch that? They
Yeah,
had a video
definitely.
game that I bought. It was on
Ooh.
the 360, and that was fun as fuck. And I got the Legends edition, so you could like William Wallace fighting Attila the Hun or some shit, like just ridiculous stuff. And I was like, this is so much fun, and you could like actually de-limb people in the middle of a fight.
Oh shit.
Yeah, people would like lose their arms and shit. It's like, yeah, this is great. I tried to get it on an emulator, but no cigar. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, just not popular enough.
Yeah. It's such a niche market. Like, this random Spike TV show about, different warriors in history battling using an algorithm to figure out who would do it, and then a really weird reenactment at the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but it was always cool to watch them like test out the actual weapons, that they use.
Yeah.
That shit
Uh-huh.
was cool.
That was awesome. That was the best part.
Yeah. So
All
anyway,
right.
those are the stories I got today.
At about the 20-minute mark, I was like, should we stop talking and
No.
let him do stories?
Yeah, I've been looking at them this whole time. Like, nah, it's fine. We'll be all right. This week, just go to Google and type in what's happening, and then it'll tell you. You'd be all right.
Well, I guess we'll do Am I the Asshole?
Yes, you are. I win.
Yes. All right. This is the number 2 one of the week. The number 1 one, the person from the title couldn't write very well, so I was like, I'm not reading that.
Yeah, I'm out. I don't know why, but poor grammar just will ruin my day real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
But
right,
it's
here we
weird
go.
because when people are like, hey, you Sorry.
No, you're
ADHD
good.
attack. That's fine. Go ahead.
All right. Am I the asshole for refusing to have a fully child-free wedding?
Whoa.
Yeah. So I recently proposed to my long-term girlfriend, and we are planning for a wedding in summer next year. Everything is still very early stages. My fiance has expressed that she wants a child-free wedding, which I'm all down for, but I want to make one exception. My son, 15 male, I had him from a previous relationship, and we have evenly split custody of him. Until now, my fiance has gotten along great with him. We've had days out as a family. She's gone to see his games. He plays ice hockey, and she's even taken him out on fun days, just the two of them. I brought it up that I wanted them to make that exception to the no kids rule for my son. She shot that idea straight away. She said that she didn't want anyone under 16 there, as she doesn't want to feel like she or anyone else has to babysit on her special day. I told her that no one would have to babysit him. He's 15, and she knows he's well behaved and a generally quiet kid. She then changed her reasoning and asked why I wanted my old family and life on the day I was supposed to be making a commitment to her and our new family. Which, fuck her.
Yeah, that's his son. It's
Yeah.
not his old family. It's still part of his family. So
Yeah, it's still a thing. I told her while I will be making a commitment to her, my son will still very much be my son and my family.
right.
She then equated it to wanting my ex at our wedding, which I do not and never asked that. I told her that I don't care about the aesthetics of the wedding and that she can pick everything else, the food, the music, the dress, but all I want is my family at the wedding, my parents, my sisters, and my son. That is my only ultimatum when it comes to our wedding. She started calling me controlling and giving me an ultimatum and said that I'd initially agreed to a child-free wedding and now I'm gaslighting her. I said we can have a mainly child-free wedding, but with one exception. An exception that guests can't even complain about being unfair since the only child is the son of the groom.
Yeah.
She called me a dick and is now not talking to me. I really think it's a reasonable want, but maybe I'm not seeing something. Am I the asshole?
Well, I mean, there's some good layers to this one. I don't feel like this guy is being that big of an asshole. And also her stipulation, I don't want anybody under 16. The kid's 15. That's barely under 16. So if you're okay with 16, why can't you make an asterisk for this one kid?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
No,
And also
I
where
don't
she
like
tried to
her.
like throw it back in his face. Oh, you might as well just get your ex-wife in here, like. And
yeah,
that-
that was petty.
And then she's like, he said that she called him gaslighting for. First of all, I think this word is being thrown around way too much. It's
Yeah.
like anything that happens that people don't like. Ah, you're gaslighting me now.
Yeah.
Okay, man. I don't know.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This post is already marked,
Yeah.
and everyone agrees he's an asshole.
Really?
And I...
What are some of the
Don't.
comments saying?
let's see.
That's wild. I get it. It is technically something that he agreed to it, but is he being an asshole like by going, well, I would really like my son there, like.
I think maybe people may have misvoted because the number one comment says, "Wow, she doesn't want your own child to come to your own wedding, and not a crying baby or a terrible two, but a 15-year-old, a kid that will be old enough to drive next year when is the wedding?
Yeah,
If this,
that's the other thing. Just postpone the wedding until he's 16. Loophole.
this dude goes on to say, "Yeah, I'm sorry, bud. This is all kinds of evil stepmother red flags. The whole thing about you making a new commitment to her and her family
Yeah.
and equating your son to having your ex there is crazy."
Yeah, that's just so like, and she said it thinking that like it was gonna hurt him, like going like, oh well, why don't you get your fucking ex in here, like shit like that, where people immediately jump to that kind of thing, like, whoa, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, I think this was misvoted.
Yeah,
All of the top comments say not the asshole, not the asshole.
and it's decided as the asshole, huh?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's marked asshole.
Wow, weird. That's confusing. I don't know. I don't get that one. Yeah, I was gonna say something else about this lady, but I can't put my finger on it anymore. Oh, yeah, I remember. So I was trying to imagine myself in the place of the kid,
Yeah.
like, I know when, like, because my parents were, like, either one, whoever I was hanging out with, they were very, like, well, I'm going to be hanging out with my friends. And then I would make the decision to go, well, I guess I'll hang out with them too. Like, I'm not, like, I wasn't ever like, well, if there's no kids, I don't want to go. Like, I just wanted to be there. And so I've spent a lot of time hanging out with a lot of my, you know, my dad and my mom's friends growing up. And I think it did, you know, make me a little older, a little quicker. But, like, just because I was interacting and trying to entertain these people who are 30 plus, you know,
Yeah.
depending on what time of my childhood we're looking at. So it's like, I would have been fine. Like, I don't need any kids. I would just pretend like I'm an adult this whole time. But this guy seems to know his kid pretty well and says that it wouldn't be an issue. I would say that she should probably know him too, because it says like they've obviously hung out and like done activities and trips and stuff. Like, I don't know. It seems weird.
Yeah.
It seems like a hard line to draw for, like, for the most reasonable of exceptions.
Yeah. Well, and to me, it's wild because he's like, you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Here, like, pick whatever the fuck you want. I just want my son there, and it doesn't sound like to me, it doesn't sound like a crazy ask. Like,
No.
It's his, like, yes, it's, everyone says that the wedding is the woman's day, but it's also the groom's day.
Yeah.
Like, why is it not special for him? And if, like, I don't.
And there's like literally one little thing you can do to make it special for him, and you're like, nope, no, not gonna do that. Yeah, that's weird. Hard line. I don't like it, but
Yeah.
and even weirder that everybody voted as an asshole. Yet there's a lot of comments that are like, no, dog.
Yeah, like, well, like I said, that top comment that was upvoted 40,000 times.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Like, I think something happened. I think people voted on accident the wrong way.
Yeah. Or there's like a bunch of real spammy little ones.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's insane.
Like a lot of comments that did get voted a lot, but they are all calling him an asshole.
Yeah. It's
Or
gotta
maybe
be.
it's her. She's like, fuck. You do this to me after my cousin doesn't let us use her cabin?
Fucking Kathy, dude, back at it again.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like these a lot. This is, 'cause I like to envision myself in the scenarios and be like, "Dude, what's your fucking problem?" Yeah.
Oh, man. We'd like to thank our friends, the Dutch and Denver podcast, the No New Friends podcast, Kicking It with the Kellys in the Remedy Room.
You.
Again, link tree in the description. Do all the things. Leave the comments. If you comment on YouTube at all, we will read it. We will talk about it. If you timestamp it, that'll help us. Because sometimes we don't know what the hell we're saying.
Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed in the last 40-some minutes, but we kind of spew a lot of nonsense sometimes, so it'll help us to direct that. Even better if you can drop a little nugget of, like, what you're responding about. Like, hey, yeah, that guy is being an asshole or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kylie, do better this week.
Yeah, what's your deal?
Pantera Girl, we haven't heard from you in
Yeah.
many moons, so where you at? I know Florida hasn't got that crazy.
Yeah. It's hurricane season? I don't know. I don't think it is. I thought hurricane season was over. That's it, right?
That's it.
All right. I've had enough. Peace out, bitches.
Tip your bartender.